any parent who makes the decision to homeschool their child may be having all sorts of reasons that have nothing to do with special education. It may be for religious reasons. You may be unhappy with the climate of the public schools. There are any number of reasons that a family might make that decision. But we're here to talk a little bit about some of the reasons that a family with a child or with children who have disabilities might make that decision.
And the one that I hear, I think most prevalently is the fact that parents are sometimes very dissatisfied with the services that they're getting for their child with special needs in the public school system. So they may not like the speech and language services they're getting, or they perhaps don't like the special education services or the related services. And so they're just so fed up that they just decide that they're going to do this on their own.
Well, and that's a reason that I find so upsetting, because as somebody who advocates for children to be receiving what they're entitled to under federal and state law in terms of special education services that are appropriate to meet their needs. Because if you choose to homeschool your child, that's a very personal and individual choice based, as I said, on many reasons. But if it's simply because you're not able to get for your child in the public school what your child needs and is entitled to, as a civil libertarian, as a special education attorney, that really is so upsetting to me, because it means something about our system is not working. That doesn't mean that I am judging parents who make that decision, but I hear a lot from families who say, I made the decision to homeschool because I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take arguing with them anymore. Or I made the decision that the services available in my district, while probably legally appropriate, were not the way I wanted to educate my child.
And some people just feel that they could do a better job. And again, it's a very personal decision. But I really think that's the biggest one, Jen, when it comes to kids who have a disability or special needs. Do you find that to be the case? I
do. I mean, there are the other examples of situations where, for some reason, disability-related, the family doesn't feel that the environment, and that could be allergies, it could be asthma, it could be any number of medical reasons, that the family doesn't feel that the physical environment of a school or that school is appropriate for their child, and they don't want them educated in that environment. That is sometimes a reason that a family will use, or those situations in which a child cannot attend school. But even that situation, I would argue, is not necessarily a homeschooling situation, because the IDEA, which provides the funds and the services and the mandates and the procedures, that statute contemplates educating children even in hospitals when necessary. So that's not the kind of thing that I would typically refer to as homeschooling. But there may be a medical reason or a disability-related reason that a family says, I don't want to send my child to that school. Then we may be getting into a different area of the law where you're talking about accommodations for certain disabilities, and there are certain kinds of allergies and kinds of environmental issues that schools are very reluctant to acknowledge, because of course if they acknowledge a mold problem, for example, they have to acknowledge that it may be a problem for all the kids in the school. And so those kinds of environmental issues can lead to real disputes, and often it does push some families to make the decision to homeschool.
Another reason that I see is the fact that sometimes parents and school districts may be in dispute about a methodology that they think is appropriate for the child's education. And so oftentimes if a team agrees to methodology A and the parents want methodology B, instead of challenging the dispute, they may opt out altogether and say, you know what, I don't even want to dispute about this. I'm just going to take my child out of the public school, and because I don't agree with the philosophy, and I'm going to provide my own services in the home setting.
Right.